Good morning, traders. So how do we trade the Aussie today? So yesterday was pretty much a range day, although the daily bar would have closed on a solid red bar. We can't really see it because the data is incorrect on GT24 again, but we closed, well, we closed pretty much at that level there. So if we come back to daily, you'll see we closed on this red line here. So that is a solid engulfing candle, which has gone straight through the 200 moving average. I don't even think we passed go. So let's just put a line in here. We'll have a look. Yeah, so we basically broke through it and then tested and then hovered around the 200 moving average for most of the day and then continued to the downside. So what I'm looking at the moment is we do have a bit of divergence here. You can see how price is making lower lows, whereas the oscillator is making a higher low, sorry. So there's definitely divergence here. You can see we've got divergence on the awesome oscillator as well. You see how we've got a low there, and then we have a higher low here. Okay, where price is low, and then price is lower here. And then even at this area here, we've got a low here where price is high. Okay, a lower low, and that's a higher low. Okay, so there's a lot of signals that are coming to the fore now that we may be getting a little bit tired. But what we need to do is we need to worry about where we are with price. So if you look at this red line, we've got a weekly close at the moment, which is right on the alligator, the weekly alligator. Okay, so it's kind of tough to call at the moment whether we're going to continue or whether we are going to find some support somewhere. And okay, so if we take the trend line on these first two pin bars or tails, you'll see how we've tagged that area as well. Okay, so we could be bottom of a channel. Okay, so I just want to put a channel in here so we can just there it is there. Okay, so that's the weekly channel that we're in. We can see we've got 1, 2, 3, now 4 touches on the bottom, and we have, you can argue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches on the top. So we're definitely in a bull channel of sorts. Now the big question is what happens at the bottom here. Okay, because if we break to the downside, it's going to turn into a flag. Okay, so let's just get to the 30 minutes and have a quick look. Okay, the closing range breakout yesterday worked out pretty well. So let us just get that in place so you can see there is the closing range, the last hour of trading of the day before, and you can see 1, 2, 3 targets were hit. Okay, so at the moment we have a double bottom. Okay, we have a double bottom inside a weekly channel. Where is our channel gone? Okay, there it is there. Okay, so inside a weekly or even inside a daily channel, we have got a close, not quite at the bottom just yet. So I suppose it is possible for us to still move to the downside here and find some support. And let's just pick up where that's going to be. Do this on the 4 hour. Okay. So there are a couple of areas here that we need to take cognizance of, and let me just get the levels in and then we can run through them. Right, so those are the 2 levels that I can see. So moves to the downside, 50,295 and 50,070. Those are the two areas where I can see we've got pretty good potential. Okay, and then somewhere down in this area where you'll see we should tag the bottom of the channel. So that's going to be around 49,760. Well, let's just call it, just round it off in the middle to 50,000. So the nice round number. So there is still a good possibility for us to move to the downside. Okay, this measured move here is very close to being played out. Okay, so let's just get talking about 40 points at the moment. So for the measured move, I reckon that is played out at the moment. So the big question now is what is going to happen next. So if we look at the half hour, we can see, let's get rid of that. We have trended down and we now have a consolidation. Okay, so a break to the downside would give us a second measured move, which is pretty much going to be that, which takes us right the way down to 49,400. Okay, so that is the one scenario. The thing that is counting against us is if you look at the awesome oscillator here, you can see we are moving to the upside while prices be moving to the downside. So we've got diversions there. We've got diversions on the oscillator as well. So there is a lot of indications that this is tired and we can expect a move back to the upside. But in the same breath, it's very probable that this is just a consolidation and we break to the downside to find support at one of these levels to downside. And that's kind of the play that I would be expecting today. Okay, so that would be the measured move target, and to me the most logical one would be a break of this range, which brings us to this level here. Okay, so in summary, if we get a close below 56.62, so if we get a half hour close below 56.62, I would expect us to come and tag probably 50,000 is the most logical thing before we start finding some kind of a bottom. Okay, so that's kind of the play that I'm looking at the moment, and there's nothing to pull your nose up on that because that is still a good 500-point trade if that plays out. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking at is consolidate, probably a gap down. Let's delete all this. So probably a gap down at this stage. We've got pretty much 10 cents down, another 2.5%. So we'll have to see how that's going to roll into nice pass at the moment. And US markets were pretty flat. Everything else is flat. So there's nothing really to indicate that we are driving to the downside. So I suspect it's just going to be like a meandering, probably a gap down, like this. So we'll gap down, then we come up, test the break, okay, and then sort of run down to the range break target. I'm just going to be conservative here, there, okay, something like that. So that's kind of what I'm expecting, and then anywhere in this 50,000 area is going to be the place to watch for the buyers to step in, and it could be between 50,000 and 49,500. Okay, so that's kind of the zone that we need to look for buyers, and I think that's pretty much the area that I would expect us to start looking for a turn. Now, before we close this video off, let's just get into a Bollinger, and you'll see now why I want to do that. You can see how we've got a close outside the Bollinger, then we have a close inside the Bollinger. Okay, so we've got Bollinger diversions here, we've got diversions on the oscillator, and a little bit of a squeeze. Well, not quite, but it's starting to come together. So there is a very good possibility that this is turning out to be a bottom as well. Okay, and a break above 51300 would give us confidence that we're going to start moving back the upside. If we just take this on the hour, you'll see the only thing that's really changed is we've got a bit of a turn up, but I wouldn't take too much into that because of this incorrect data here. Okay, so the other thing to bear in mind is we have a potential bull flag forming. Okay, so that's kind of what my play on this is at the moment. So what I'm actually looking for is one of two things: either a continuation of this consolidation, so in other words, we don't get below the low of yesterday, and we consolidate and we start moving to the upside. The other thing that I would be looking for is a break of this range, and we move to the downside pretty much around there, which is 50,800. But we'd obviously be looking in that entire zone. So 50,080, not 800. So 50,080 to 49,700. So I would say 50,000 dead on would be a fairly good area to watch for an entry long. Maybe take a small nibble and put a stop below this bottom level here of 49.5. Yeah, so put a stop below 49,500 and see if this is the area for a turn. And it is very possible, okay, very possible. So if we look at the weekly on the Bollinger, you can see we are in a squeeze here, okay, and bear in mind that price is sitting down here at the moment. So at this stage we are below the 20 moving average on the weekly. Okay, so nothing really to read into here. Or what we're looking for is just to see what happens in this zone at the bottom here. Okay, so that's kind of my take on this today. It could be a potential double bottom here, or it's just a consolidation and we are looking for another leg down, and then we're looking around the 50,000 mark to get back into the market for a long. And it could be a swing trade setup. It's very possible. Very, very possible indeed. But obviously we're going to need to break above. So two things need to happen on the hour. First thing, we need to break up above 51,300. Okay, and then we need to come back and test the break before you can be convinced that we've got a pretty solid trend change. Okay, so that's kind of my take on this for today, is just watch what's going on, because I reckon we do gap down, but maybe it's going to be just a gentle gap and then a slow meander to find some support at one of these levels here. So you're going to have to just keep putting your levels in. So always on the inside tail here. Okay, see there's an inside tail there, there's an inside tail there, and take this one down. There's an inside tail, there's an inside tail, there's an inside tail. So those are my levels. So somewhere in this area I would expect the buyers to step in. And yeah, the most logical one is going to be around this 50,000 area. So 5,300, 5080. So somewhere in this 50,000 area I would expect buyers to step in. Okay, so that's kind of my take on this. And I think the last thing I can suggest is to draw that trend line in there, because you'll see if you are sitting short, when you get this trend line intersecting with any of these other levels and prices at that same spot, that's more than likely the area where you're going to find some buyers stepping in, and it may be the area where you want to get long. Okay, and obviously there are two things at play here. Okay, so this is a channel, and then we have a potential reversal pattern inside the channel. Okay, so in other words, it breaks up, tests the channel, then it should come back, and then hopefully break through the channel. Okay, anyway, that's my take on the Aussie for today, and I hope that helps, and we'll catch up with you guys later. Enjoy your day. Cheers for now.